Welcome to this week's Don and Friends. This week we're honoring veterans, both past and present. We're going to listen to a very special story by veteran Bill Ahrberg in our community. We're going to learn about how he received his 3 silver stars. Join me as we listen to Bill's story.
I was in the Army a very short time before I was on a troop ship, which took 18 days to get us from Seattle to Yokohama, and then 2 days across to Busan, Korea. And as we came off the troop ship, we were told what train to get into. They had a train going to the east front and one going to the west front, and told me to get on the west front. And things were bad then, and nobody knew where the gooks were, but they were there. And from Busan up to Seoul had a number of tunnels the train had to go through. And these trains had about 6 passenger cars, and they had flat cars in front and back with sandbags and machine guns. And every time we went to a tunnel, we had to stop, and they had to walk out the tunnel to see if the gooks were in there, or they'd put some detonation charges in there, and then we'd go a ways. We didn't go very fast, But as soon as we got to Busan, they put me on a deuce-and-a-half truck and up to the front with the 3rd Infantry Division, and that's where I was when I got my first Silver Stars, and it was a couple of days later when I got them. I tell you, 3 days later, I think, we went to the front, and the enemy was about a mile probably down from us, and we were on a ridge line, and we could see them, and they were burning everything in this village. And the North Koreans burned everything, so that if they had reverses and we got shelter in places like that, we couldn't get it because they destroyed it. They sent us up on trucks. I was there an hour, and we left the front just like that, and a convoy. And we were heading out of Seoul to 38th parallel, pretty close. And I was in there about an hour, and they said, we're going to the front right now. Well, the reason this unit was in there is they'd been shot up, and they were getting fillers for officers and enlisted. And I was one of the officers, But I got in there, and we went to the front, and nobody knows anything especially if you're a second lieutenant, you don't know anything. And they didn't hardly tell anybody because they didn't know what to tell them. They didn't know where the front was, or how bad it was. And it was bad for the Allied forces. Anyway, we got up a ways, and it got dark. They told us to get off the trucks, and we were going to march up to a ridge line and dig in that night, which we did. We went up, and we were watching the gooks burn the village, and they were not over a mile from us, probably 3/4 of a mile, but they were coming. And for us, Well, we started digging in on the ridge line, and it got dark, and we gave that up. And next morning, just right at daybreak, there was an airstrike, American airstrike. And there's no communication in Korea in the part of the war that I was in, and not even at all any communication from between ground and air. And that's something now. And these fighter planes came in, and they were American B-51s. And my sergeant, platoon sergeant, told me, he said, they're getting it ready to hit us. And he'd been there a while, you know, and they were circling just like buzzards. And I said, oh, they won't hit us. The Gooks don't have anything, but they don't have helmets or anything like that. The Gooks don't, you know. And they said, yeah, they're going to hit us. And they did. And anyway, they hit us 2 times with 5 planes with napalms and let us have it. Well, they didn't get a man because those ridge lines were wide. I mean, very narrow. Third from here to the wall, the ridge line was. Well, they couldn't put a napalm bomb on the ridge line, and if it was one side or the other, it was down there a half mile, and it was a hell of a lot of fire, but it wasn't doing anything. I said, I think we can handle this, and we did that part. But I was a farm boy, you know. They got the 50 calibers going, and they had 650s in each one of them. And they coming up the ridge line, and they didn't miss. And they ripped the line here for us, and it was chaos. And I told the boys, I said, this is a 4-row cultivator. These 50s will eat you up, 50 calibers. And I said, you're on your own. And we just split. And here the enemy was. They were down there now, probably half a mile from us. But they weren't coming this way very fast. And they worked us over. Well, when it was over, I'd left in a bunker there with my carbine and my sleeping bag, and that was cold, and that sleeping bag was going to keep you going, because you could, if something wasn't going, you could get in them and stand there, you know. All we had then at that time was a blanket with a zipper. It wasn't any good at all, but we did get later get sleeping bags, which were good, real good. You get in there, zip in, and you can make it. You'll make it anyway. But I found out that the GIs are pretty tough. They're tougher than animals, you know. These kids, most of them were 18, 19. I was 23. I know that because I've said a little prayer there once, telling the Lord I'd like for him to get me to 24. Now I'm 85. He kind of overdid it. But anyway, we've got our forces together, and they said, we're going right back to Seoul, only we're walking. The trucks are gone, the artillery's gone, the Gooks are on us, and if you can't make it, the Gooks will take care of you. And everybody made it. And we headed south. And we got into Seoul, Seoul's now a city of 10 million, and it was big then, I think, but it had been devastated by troops going north and south on the Gooks and us, and there wasn't anything there higher than 10 feet. Everything else, total devastation, gone. Well, it was really cold then, and I'd had a lot of sinus trouble in the United States, and I thought I lost my gear that I came with, and my medicine, it all destroyed. And you know what? I was there for 10 more months, and I was wounded twice a little bit. I called it just barely a little bit. But anyway, we went right back to the front. We walked into Seoul, and we were there about 2 days, and they sent us back to the front.
We're going to take a break, but we'll be back right after this.
You're watching RDMG TV.
And we're good. Hey, ready and...
Tune in next week for the rest of Bill's story. We'll be right back.